What's going on, my Latin ones? It's your boy MoashDMC back again, and today we're going to be talking about something I've been holding on to for quite some time. To be honest, I had a lot written down for this video because it involves two of my personal favorite characters and a line of thinking that can very well bring both of them back into the story in a very big way. So we have a couple big questions on our plate today. Where is Urouge? What is he up to? And where is the last road poneglyph? The fascinating thing about today's video is that I'll be talking about each of them and how they all play hand in hand. And I can already see it. Some of you guys are intrigued, some of you guys are confused. No worries, my enlightened ones. Allow me to enlighten you just a bit further. With all that's happening right now in Onigashima, even the Gorosei mentioning how the Reverie was cursed this year, all of our attention are plastered on these two events. Interestingly enough, both of these events have had a certain set of characters highlighted in them, and it's none other than the worst generation. With a quick scene of Julie seeing Kuma and then crying after witnessing the state he was in, one can only speculate what that was all about. Looking at Onigashima, we see the fall of Hawkins and next Drake, Apu being the ultimate opportunist trying to turn on Kaido, and even getting a Morgan-sized scoop on CP0. We even got to see everyone's favorite Yonko Big Mom toppled by the hands of Law and Kid, as well as a master conquerors Hanki Chankla user Luffy going blow for blow with the strongest creature in the world. While all that's happening, how could we not continually ponder about what's happening next for the worst generation? And now we go back to Urouge. What is his play? What is he really doing? What is next for this partying, love-making monk? Last time we saw him, he was recovering on Balloon Terminal at Sky Island after facing off with some of the Big Mom commanders, having defeated Snack and later on falling to the hands of Cracker. Interestingly enough, both of these instances have small details that could lead us to what's really next for Urouge. What was his purpose in going into Big Mom's territory, and what significance does a Balloon Terminal hold? Firstly, I want to discuss a few things about Urouge. His power is tied to an unnamed devil fruit that he uses in a way to invoke karma onto his opponents, taking damage he receives and using it to increase his strength and size, and using an attack called Karmic Retribution. Doesn't that remind you a lot of the reject dials and the impact dials, as well as his bounty being 108 million, being almost a callback to the 108 vices of Buddhism? With Urouge's character being tied to karma and the old saying, what goes around comes around, one thing that continually comes to mind is Enel. After destroying Burka, he went and became the new kami of Upper Yard, built the Arc Maxim, plotted to go to the moon or endless bars that is deemed the god's domain or where the gods should reside. You see, Enel's cover story is actually pretty interesting, and a lot of interesting things happened to Enel when he went to the moon. He encountered space pirates that resembled the Minx. He interacted with automatons that had personalities after being fixed by Dr. Tsukimi. The automatons actually went to the moon for revenge after the death of the doctor, and they actually got there by floating on balloons. Enel also discovered an ancient city called Burka, and unlike the last Burka he used his power on to destroy, this one he actually brought back to life. Now Enel's on the moon with an army of automatons. These are all things you probably already know after reading Enel's cover story. The reason I'm rehashing this now is because 1, Urouge is tied to karma and he still needs to deal that retribution to Enel for destroying Burka, and 2, Enel went to the moon to be in the domain of gods, but instead gained an army, but also learned the true history of the moon, and the gods or the ancient moon people actually had wings. And looking at Enel's reaction, he seemed confused, so I don't think he actually knew that. But now shifting our focus back to Urouge. After having faced the might of Yonko, one thing he must have realized is that he lacked power. Even so, him being a pirate in the New World, he must have known the type of power Yonko had. Even Kid was trying to make an alliance just to take one down, so what was Urouge's purpose in going to Big Mom's territory? You see, from Brûlé, we learned that 4 pirates of the worst generation came to her territory, and looking at the timeline, Urouge must have been the last of the 4. Kid went there for some reason but got what he needed and left. Beiji went there, became part of the family just to try to take Big Mom's head from the inside. Apu, being the weasel he was and was already working under Kaido, probably snuck in by order of him, and we still don't know why Urouge went there and picked a fight with the Yonko to begin with. I mean, knowing Urouge and Big Mom and how they both have similar hobbies, I wouldn't be surprised if he went there for the whole cake himself. And on a serious note, I think I have an idea why. I believe Urouge went there in order to gain one of the road poneglyphs. Yes, you're probably confused right now, as seeing though Roger didn't know about the road poneglyph until he sailed to the last island, and Luffy only found out on Zou, but forgetting one thing. The poneglyph on Fisherman Island was moved. The question now is, who moved it and to where? There are only 3 candidates. Whitebear, who protected Fisherman Island, could have possibly moved it to Sphinx Island. Everyone's favorite is that Shanks moved it to Elbath, but my personal favorite is that Roger moved it himself. From Roger's backstory, we know that Fisherman Island or King Neptune was feeling really wary because of Charlie's prophecy, but Odin also stated that having 2 poneglyphs in the same area is quite the windfall. So it's very plausible to fix that they moved it from Fisherman Island themselves. Big Mom already has one on her territory. We know there's one on Zou, and we know there's one on Wano, and Roger went on there to take a copy of it. Now, if Roger did move it, where did he put it? After leaving Fisherman Island, we see that the Roger pirates went to a couple notable islands, and one of them was Raijin Island, and it's most likely the last road poneglyph is actually on Raijin Island. From Smoker himself, we know that after Fisherman Island, there are only 3 islands you can possibly go to: Risky Red Island, Rising Island, and Mysteria Island. Smoke was waiting on shore at Rising Island for the Straw Hats, but they didn't go there because of the message from Punk Hazard. And one thing to note is that there are only 2 people in the worst generation that can possibly get on top of Rising Island, and that's Luffy and Kid. Urouge, however, got lucky and ran into Casa, who gave him an umbrella in order for him to traverse the island. Before continuing on that point, I want to mention, if Kid was able to traverse Rising Island and he did find a road poneglyph on there, it would now make more sense as to why he went to Big Mom's territory and what he actually got when he went there. We already see that the Kid Pirates have some connection to the underworld, so it actually is possible that they got the information from there as well. But now back to Urouge. Having traversed Rising Island and finding one of the road poneglyphs, Urouge now has some direction in the new world. And one thing to note is that we see with the Birkins and one Shandy and Isa is that they excel in observation hockey. And with Urouge being the pinnacle of strength of the Birkins besides Enel, and also being known as the powerful Sky Knight by the White Barrettes, it's most likely he can possibly hear the voices of the poneglyph, or the voice of all things. An interesting note is that if Kid did go to Rising Island, Urouge and himself have been on the same path since entering the New World. Rising Island, Big Mom's territory, and even the alliance with Apu and Hawkins, Urouge was right there, but he was 10,000 meters directly above Kid's hideout in Balloon Terminal. And now it's time to talk about one of my favorite characters in all of One Piece, and that's Wiper. One thing I realized with the introduction of the SSG and the world government wanting to take over Wano if Kaido falls is that the world government is basically declaring war against the pirates. The power balance has completely shifted, and that leaves wiggle room for other factions to come in now. You see, Urouge is actually in a very lucky spot right now, and just like the Straw Hats, he's able to witness the power of the people in the Blue Sea, but also the Skypeans and the Shandians. Urouge's last encounter, or last time we saw him, was him going to Big Mom's territory, possibly going after a poneglyph, but now also on Balloon Terminal. And the thing about the Balloon Terminal is that it also has connections to the moon where Enel is. The connections lie with the automatas. People have mentioned that Blackbeard's going to go to Whole Cake Island and get the poneglyph now that Big Mom's not there. But thinking about it, since Urouge did just fail at Big Mom's territory, but he also knows now it's left defenseless, he may go back himself. But if Urouge is on the hunt for poneglyphs, it's likely he may go to the poneglyphs in the sky and get information from there, but right now it's guarded by the Shandians, so the interaction between them may also happen. But another thing to think about is, if Urouge does find out about Enel's defeat and that he went to the moon, it could be a situation that the Balloon Terminal is a link or a little foreshadowing to Urouge possibly going to the moon or possibly interacting with Enel again, and he already knows the type of power he has. And now this is where some pieces begin to come together. One thing we saw from Enel's cover story is that the Sky People were originally one faction working together, and Urouge now seeking strength in order to find the truth behind the ancient kingdom that has ties directly to its people. Shandians, mainly Wiper, and the Kami's guardians will also want to know about the history of why their people were involved in the ancient kingdom to begin with. Also, looking at Wiper's cover story, we can see that he's still been training. But not only that, it's likely he's been exposed to or been training in hockey directly with Isa. Now with an army and a better understanding of the gods on the moon will turn his attention to the Blue Sea, where remember is not only Luffy, but the fact he said there are plenty of strong people and may go there seeking further entertainment. Just like we didn't expect Luffy to team up with Crocodile because of their history, we may see something similar with Enel, Wiper, and Urouge coming together as the people from the sky to seek the truth behind the ancient people of the moon. And one clue not to overlook is the tower card that Hawkins drew last, and depiction of thunder striking down the tower, the collapse of the olden brittle, and a new way forward opens. And we've already seen the Skypeans and the Shandians come together, and the only thing missing now is the Birkins, and that could be the new way forward. But please tell me what you guys think down below, and like I said at the end of every single video, hit the like button and the subscribe button and the bell button to come back next time and remain enlightened, y'all. Peace.